Welcome to Future Cities Africa. Smart cities need smart citizens, and smart citizens need smart education. I'm discussing the future of education with Professor Nabil El Kadhi. He's Vice President of Academic Affairs at Khawarizmi International College in Abu Dhabi. He's also involved in quite a few different roles that I'll let him explain. Nabil, welcome. Can you expand more about your background and the current work that you're involved in?
Great. Thank you, Dan, for this invitation. Pleasure mine to be with you today. I'm, as you said, the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Khawarizmi International College. Same time, I'm Vice President in Future City Council Canada with Professor Walid. I'm also a founding and managing director of ISMC, which is Innovative Solution and Management Consultancy. It's a company that provides, consultancy in anything dealing with innovation and creativity and integration of the new technology. And recently, I'm a founding member of the Tunisian Association for Future Foresight.
With the topic being the future of education, what is the schema or the pattern of thought for future education?
You said it well in your introductory message, future cities and innovative cities need future or smart, citizens, and that need the smart education or education to change. If we look to it, fortunately, from one side, education managed, to grasp good usage of the technology from one side, and embedding the technology on it. And that's, I think, one of the most important features. However, when it comes to the pedagogy and to the methodology, I do believe there is still a lot to do. This morning, I was attending the QS Maple 2020, and Sophia was there, and Sophia was saying, I'm just referring to the Sophia robot of Manuel, saying, wow, I'm excited about helping the educator in order to allow the student of today to be ready for the jobs of tomorrow. So the shape of it is different. In fact, the model has to change. There is a paradigm shift in order to go to a more Uberized and customized education.
Let's use the UAE as an example. Where is the UAE's current education system today, and how is it playing a leading role in shaping tomorrow's education? And what I'd also like to do is see if we can relate this to Africa and how Africa can learn from the UAE.
First of all, as I said, there is a shift that is happening in a good direction somehow, which is in using technology. But unfortunately, that is leading to a digitalized education. And with the digitalized education, there is a first risk, which is to not having an inclusive education. You might have excluding some people because they don't have access to technology. They don't have the resources to access to it. And this is one of the, example when UAE has been a leading country. For example, during the pandemic, we have seen a PPP, great efforts, public and private partnership, in order to make sure everyone is having an access to internet, everyone is having the right speed. Internet provider have been upgrading all the packages. The Minister of Education sent us requests saying, give us the list of the students who will need an internet connection, and that was provided even for free for the one who are not accessing. So you see, this is an example that we have to be careful that the digitalized area will not lead to some exclusion. We need to consider usually equality and equity between everyone. So this is one example where the UAE is playing a leading role. Another side is look to the curricula of today, look to the program that are available here and there. What happened to the education, basically, we are still preparing people ready for the Industrial Revolution 2.0, 3.0. You have a specific task, you have to do it well, you have to repeat it, If you remember a very old movie of Charlie Chaplin, doing the same. And that's what the education used to do. Everyone adhere to the same program. You will have the same number of hours, the same number of exercise, the same number of things. And at the end, you are supposed to do the same thing. So that's something where, for example, here in the UAE, from the basic education level, there were a shift. There is a program called Rahal. And if I translate Rahal, it's something like a traveler. Traveler is a program for the primary and secondary education for the outstanding students. When you have some genius and some outstanding students and you try to put them in the framework of the college or of the school, it does not work. They will feel bored. They will feel that they are wasting their time. So, and their parent was facing challenges. How I can be able to let him do what he want to do and at the same time get a degree? Because not a single institution will tell you, oh, yeah, you own a degree by, okay, I will exempt you from math and from physics and you do only this and I still give you the degree. Does not work. So Rahal is a program initiated by the Minister of Education and the Knowledge and Human Development Authority in Dubai, where you can have a homeschooling for your kids because he has some specific need and outstanding. He likes physics less than math. He can do this, he cannot do that, etc. And still pass the exams at the end and get your degree. So this is when it comes to an example of primary education. And when it comes to the higher education, I think the UAE was one of the first countries to have an artificial intelligence university. And the idea of the artificial intelligence university that was launched last year in Abu Dhabi to welcome students from over the world for, master's and PhD degree all around artificial intelligence is that's the future. We need business expert with artificial intelligence mind, ready to work with the robots, ready to think differently. Let me ask you, Dan, how many programs you know around the world that speak about business artificial intelligence, BIA? Very minor, if none. How many programs are speaking today about remote surgery in medicine? Almost none. How many programs are speaking about mediation between robots and the human? How many programs are preparing the legal advisor to solve cases and challenges when you raise a case because a robot took a decision and he let you pay a VAT when he should not? None. So I believe that's the problem, and that's one of the things where education has to shift. The academic way of putting everyone in a curriculum, and it's a standard one and you have to follow it as it is, that has to change. And that's where UAE have been, leading in some disruptive program and universities and mode of delivery. And I believe that's a big chance for Africa. The beauty of the African country is that you have a diversity of country, you have diversity of resource, diversity of culture, you have various language, countries who speak Arabic as main language, countries who speak French, countries who speak English, countries who speak Portuguese. So you have a rich country with a lot of diversity. And when we speak about diversity, that means opportunity. Also, if you look to the technological development, the countries are not in the same level. So what do we need, in fact? We need a model of education for an African citizen who will be able to get in consideration the background, get in consideration the particularity, and do not oblige the students to be in the rectangle. You need to do 20 hours of this and 30 hours of that. No, today with artificial intelligence, I can follow your progression. So I will Uberize, I will customize not only the delivery, but also the program. And I believe that's a big chance for Africa to be, innovative there. Why not? Why we don't think about a first African degree when in fact the degree itself, there are a very minor component that are fixed, and the other will build according to your profile. Your profile will express also the need of your country, will express also your background and your primary education, will express mainly your hopes and your innovative and creative, capabilities to be, use it in the appropriate way.
What would you say is standing in the way of achieving the above? There's a lot of great opportunities for the future of education, but there are also a lot of challenges that needs to be overcome, steps that needs to be taken. What are some of these key challenges in your mind, and what are some of the steps that you think we should take right now to get to where we want to be?
This is a wonderful question, Dan, and I would love that every decision maker on his level, whether at university level or as a country level or ministry level, look to the matter from that perspective. First of all, something that we spoke about at the beginning is being sure that we will not exclude anyone. We will not go into digitalization by exclusion. We will not go to digitalization without smart use. The goal is not to use technology. The goal is to make a better life for the learner. So are we really listening to our learner, and are we understanding them, and are we customizing things to them? That's challenge number one. So we need really to think differently. Challenge number two is regulation. If you are a worldwide students today, and you want to choose a university, what would you look into? Accreditation, is it an ABET accredited if it's engineering? Is it a ACSB accredited if it's business? Where is it in the QS ranking? Amazing. Nothing against that, but how many flexibility, how much flexibility, sorry, is there with the accreditor. Accreditor body today and legislation, regulation in general are still looking to criteria of evaluation that do not fit what we want to do. Let me give you an example. And again, this is happening in the UAE. Till the recent past, sorry, the online education was more or less seen negatively. You know, if you get your degree online, you cheated, it's not you, you know, it's just you pay, you get, well, of course, there are both sides, you know, there are the true and the false there. But with the disruptive that happened with the pandemic, people start changing their mind and said, oh, wow, we can do differently. We can deliver quality education. We can assure authenticity of the learner. We can assure that he's gaining skills. So that's the second challenge with the regulator and the recognition body and the certification body be flexible enough. The third is again, today we don't recognize or we don't evaluate skills. If I want to admit you in one program, I would look to your transcript and see how many credits you have. And I would say, oh, right, you got an A in physics. So great, I will exempt physics for you. But why I do not let you try to show me how much you understand physics and practical? And I will tell you, this is a 3D printer. Imagine something that do X, Y, Z. And if your model at the end is something sustainable and that can move properly, sorry, I don't give a damn if you have an A or D in physics because you proved to me that you are skillful enough to do it. So that's another challenge, changing our mechanism of evaluation from knowledge to really skills and capability of creativity by putting those skills in the right way.
So there is a lot of challenges that needs to be overcome. Can you maybe explain to me the difference between smart education and digital education? Because I think there's a lot of confusion around that.
Absolutely. Digital education, or what I call normally the D-square education for digital and distance, is just that you are using a piece of technology, whether it's augmented reality, whether it's a distant learning, whether it's a Zoom platform or whatsoever, to allow you more or less to have some digital tools that will facilitate the learning process for you. Yesterday, I had my faculty member coming to me and saying, oh, Dr. C, we find a very nice device. It's just like a tablet. You do handwriting and the handwriting will automatically go to the screen. So this will be amazing. I'm teaching accounting. It will facilitate my process. That's digital education. Now, smart education is to use the resources fit for purpose and to do a different way of evaluation of the learner. For example, I'm teaching math and I want to teach math to Dan, but I noticed that Dan is not very comfortable when he sees formula and proofs and demonstration. He got fed up with that. He would not understand it. So instead of presenting to Dan Pythagoras theorem, I will present to him the application of Pythagoras theorem, you know, in a building or something like that. He will love it and he will understand it well. Well, Nabil, oh, he's a guy who loves mathematics and formula. If I will start projecting to him things, he'll say, I'm not an architecture here. So I will grasp that from his profile. I will present it to him that way. That's a smart education. The smart education will be, I'm having enough flexibility in choosing the tools across the learning journey so that at the end, we have a better learning experience. You are more skillful and the way I will evaluate you will change. I might use a technology, I might use a poll, I might use a practical cases. That's what we call a smart education, because the word smart came from intelligence somehow, but it's intelligence fit for purpose. So before start using any digitalization or remote or any gadget, ask yourself, how it gonna make the learner journey better? How it gonna allow me to achieve the outcomes of the course better? And most importantly, how it gonna allow me to let you be more skillful and mainly creative? If you learn something and you don't know how to use it and how to create and to innovate with it, an artificial intelligence algorithm or a robot will replace you tomorrow. But if you know how to complete the role of the robot, let the, basic task, whatever computation, more complex, let the machines do it for you. Get the result and imagine a new scenario. Put it for a fit for purpose. If we prepare our students there and our graduates, that's the smart education.
I wish we had this figured out when I was at school. I wish we had smart education
Same,
then,
same. I
because
would wish the same.
if I had someone that made math interesting to me, it would have been great. But it was just someone on the board, you know. And if you miss a lesson, you're behind.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. Unfortunately, majority of the educational system are still there. We start here some pedagogy, you know, flip-flop class, changing the approach, peer evaluation, but still the curricular design itself is not yet there. You enter one program, all the students have to do the same thing. They will have the same challenge, the same exam, the same journey in learning. What if tomorrow we have a system saying there is a knowledge, we cannot conion, you know, the basic element of knowledge. And then that basic element is linked with 10, 20, 50,000 of presentation, the way Coursera do it, the way Dan do it, the way Nabil do it, the way Singularity University do it, the way RMIT do it. It's the same thing. It's how to write a program in Java, but presented differently. And then when you come, after a few minutes, after a few days, I know your profile. And from all those ways of learning, I will present to you the one that fits you. And then to evaluate you. Oh, I know you are skillful in game. So I will not ask you to write something in Java to sell or to edit an invoice. I will ask you to write a small game in Java because you love gaming. But I hate gaming and I love, you, let's say, database. So you will tell me, oh, write a piece of code in Java to access a database. So you see, I'm customizing even my assessment to the learner aptitude, the learner nature, the learner particularity. And that's Uberization, that's customization, personalization to the extreme. This cannot be achieved with a human only. It cannot be a teacher alone doing that. He needs to be using digital services, artificial intelligence, and that is smart education.
So while a lot of people are scared about the future, I have a 3-month-old baby, and I'm actually very excited about his future because he will be able, hopefully, when we figure out smart education and make it real, to enjoy the benefits of that. What is your views on homeschooling versus going to university? So if you had the decision to make now, would you homeschool your children or send them to university as things are at the moment?
This is very, very difficult to choose. However, I would say if there is a different university or a school than the one existing today, I will let them do both, which means I don't want my kids to go to a school or to university to just receive the same information they can get in Google or in Coursera or through a video or whatsoever. So let them do that, get that basic when they want, whatever they want from whatever provider they want. But what I want them to do in school is to be creative, innovative. What I want them is to meet someone who can challenge them based on their area of weaknesses and push them to the limit. And that you cannot do it when you are, just following a video, even in a synchronous, teaching. I can see your face expression. I can't know really if you get it or not, There is a joke, before when you want to escape school, you have, to sneak and etc. Today you have just to connect and mute your mic and, say that you have a problem with your camera, you cannot put it on, and that's it, you are sneaking. So I would love my school to go to schools, to universities, but I believe universities need to think differently. They need to change what they are doing. Schools need to change what they are doing. Some experiences happening here and there, the Finnish system, for example, there is no course today. Everything is only one topic, one subject. It's a life experience. So if we manage to do that, keeping in mind that there must be some triggers, and some checkpoints to make sure that at the end of this session, you acquire some skills. There is a level. You will acquire some knowledge, and then you will know how to practice them, and then you will start practicing them, and then you will love practicing them, and then you will contribute to the knowledge. You will add something. So I would love my kids to have something which is the right blended of both of them, a blended learning when they can get the basic things the way they want from whoever they want, and then they go to a space when they can create, innovate, think together, challenge, have the human interaction. That's a very important component that we should not lose,
Definitely a hybrid kind of approach to kind of homeschooling combined with university would be the perfect scenario. To what extent do you think the classic university is ready for the future, and what will future universities look like?
Maybe I will upset some of my colleagues in universities, because personally I think a very limited percentage of the current universities are ready for the future. Not from the background, infrastructure side and the technological side. I think everyone is doing the necessary depending on the resources available. That's not the worry. The worry I do have is that, first of all, universities invest in general less in faculty development. The teachers, you know, they have been receiving an education in a certain way, and they have been implementing it for 10, 20 years, and it was more or less okay, you know, but in the last 5 years, in the last decade, basically, the change and the transformation was so fast, you know, so we need to grasp with many things. So they're not ready yet. They're not all of them ready yet. So we need really to expose them to other pedagogical methodologies. And unfortunately, majority of the university do not invest more in them. Second, or maybe the most important point, the curriculum, the design of the curricula, the design of the program is still a classical way. To graduate, to be an engineer, you need 136 credits. To be a doctor, you need 169 credits whatsoever, you know. And those credits should include 60 hours of science, 20 hours of biology. That's wrong. That's absolutely not the right way. Yep, I would put some component and I would say, well, to be a doctor, you need to prove to me that your level of mastering and using properly certain things increased from level X to level A, and this will be done through experiencing this and this. But to do that, oh, you will need to acquire some knowledge and some reading and some information. Is it a 20-hour? Is it 30-hour? Who knows? It depends on you. It depends on the learner, and it depends on the context you have. So we need to combine all of that, and we need also to have a more flexibility between, you know, the peer learning, the professional certificate, the classical learning. What is important is, what are your abilities? Having a national qualification framework, like what is existing in UAE, unfortunately, majority of the African country do not have yet a national qualification framework. Majority of the African countries do not have a quality assurance body, but I don't want it to be as rigid as some of the quality assurance. I want it to be a flexi one, a futuristic one, looking to the possibility of customization. So I believe universities and schools will continue existing, but a drastic disruptive change is needed there, mainly on the pedagogical side, on the curriculum design side, and on the recognition of skills and the way of evaluating the learners.
Let's talk about smart cities and your work at the Future Cities Council. What is your definition of a smart city, and what is your definition of a smart citizen?
Wonderful. Let's agree on what does it mean smart. You know, smart is being able to use the appropriate resource, the most fit for purpose result to accomplish a certain task or a certain goal, right? In a very cost-effective way, in a very efficient way, with no failure, and for a certain purpose, right? If that is what is a smart city will be a city where all the service that the citizen will need can be available through a click. They are easy to get. They are affordable, you know, they are scalable, you know, and they are also controlled. So you have also a lot of elements related to the ethics, related to the intellectual property, related to the law that should be there. So a smart city is a city when a citizen feel happy, feel accomplished, when you can route resources in a smart way, in an agile way, when everything is going as fluent as water, you know, as a river. But to reach that, we need a lot to do. Now, what is a smart citizen in that case? Well, he's a citizen, first of all, and before getting benefit of all of that, who is ready for the smart city, which means he has been prepared for digitalization. He understands the limit of artificial intelligence. He understands the positive side, and let's be honest, the dark or negative side of it. He knows how to have the limit of the usage of it. He's ready to accept it. He's ready to keep his human nature, and in the same time to interact with automation. That's number one. Number two, He's a citizen who's ready to contribute positively to the smart city. Because if you're just waiting to receive services and you are not a contributor, smart city will not work efficiently. Let me give you an example. If tomorrow everyone on his mobile phone is ready to have a certain sensors, and he's ready that those sensors will measure, for example, the temperature here to inform or to alert the center, and the center will automatically regulate the AC because it's auto-controlled, so we make sure there is no waste of energy in the whole city. I'm a smart citizen. But if I'm not ready for that, oh no, you can access to my phone, that's my privacy. You might be, watching over me and doing what I'm doing. So that's why we said smart cities needs smart citizens. They are enabled, they are ready for it, they understand the benefit, but they feel also confident. They trust the organizer, they have a way to look to, they have a way to raise a case, they know how it works, etc. So it's the combination of all of that that will allow us to have smart cities, like a smart car, a car that auto drive. Yeah, but you have to be aware that there are situations, whatever efficient the algorithm, the car will not be able to do. You need to interfere. So it does not mean you lose folks 100%, yeah, 90%, but you will have a beeper. And when you listen to that beeper or to that red light, it means you need to throw away your phone or your tablet and to focus on your steering and control the car because it needs your help. So understanding that complementarity and where is the human role and where is the automated role is also part of what we expect a smart citizen to be.
Nabil, let's jump in a time machine and let's go to the year 2040. What do our cities look like 20 years from now? What are the new jobs?
Amazing.
What are the education look like? What do the cities look like? What's your view on that?
There were a lot of reports, here and there from McKinsey, from the Dubai Future Foresight Foundation and Association, Abu Dhabi Future Foresight, guessing or projection the jobs of 2040. First of all, a lot of people said there are jobs that will disappear. I tend to disagree. There are jobs that will be transformed. And let me take a simple example. I think we all know a taxi driver, right? If you go 20 years ago, the taxi driver needs to know the city by heart, right? So he can drag you, and if there is a traffic jam, I can go that way, and he will take you to the airport so you don't miss that was 20 years ago. 10 years ago, a taxi driver, or 5 years ago, can use, this device that is with a Google map or whatsoever, TomTom, the first one, and the GPS will guide him. So you see the skill required from a taxi driver changes. So at that moment, even if you are a taxi driver in a city where you have been never driving, that's not a problem. Mr. GPS will guide you. So the job of a taxi driver changes. And then the job of a taxi driver today is like an Uber driver. When I step in a car, I want a clean car. I want it to smell good. I want a personal touch. So to put your music I do like, not the music you do like as a driver. Is that not a shift of what is a driver between brackets or taxi driver? And I believe that's what's gonna happen to 60% of the existing job today. So some of them might even be transformed to the level that we think they disappear because they're no longer mechanical as they are today something else. Like the traffic light. There used to be someone doing it manually and then a machine and someone controlling it. And today it's a machine, but an algorithm who controls the machine and a man who receives a weekly reports and do how many incidents happen. So that's one thing. So a lot of jobs will change, but for sure there will be introduction of a lot of new area. I was speaking about the legal counseling between a human and machine. That's something we're gonna see in the future. Translation between a human and artificial intelligence. That's something we're gonna see in the future. A lot of integration of roles, business model relying on artificial intelligence, the data connotation and the data analytic in a different way. It's not to link the data and say what is the average of it. Machines will do that, but how you can build and create and innovate scenario. We have a lot of space industry coming. We're gonna leave on March. We're gonna leave somewhere else. We have a space tourism coming on. We have a robot assisted health. So we need experts in all of these. We need people who are gonna be able to make the link between maybe the oldest of those generation and the Z generation. Those one will be the enabler, and people like my age will be, oh, that's too complicated for me, so I need an intermediate. So I will advise everyone to read those reports, especially if students gonna choose something that is agile, you know, that will allow you to go with the future to go. So there will be a lot of jobs. 20% gonna be transformed to the level of disappearing. They will appear under something else. And there is at least 30% of jobs that we do not know even today. We're just trying to guess how it's gonna be. But for sure, the integration between automation, robotics, artificial intelligence, and the human side, a lot of nanotechnology is coming, nanomedicine is there, the healthcare is changing, you know, the personalized healthcare, the support to the person is changing. You will have a robot dog helping you to work, you know, for the blind people or for the special need. And again, this is an example where Emirates, United Arab Emirates excel in the kind of smart support provided to the special need persons.
Just final question, Nabil. What advice do you have for students that are currently stuck in the old education system? People that are just starting out, you know, these changes needs to happen, but these changes will take time. What do you tell them to stay focused and to educate themselves?
First of all, look to the degree you're gonna get as just a key that opens the door for you, but it does not trace a full path for you. That's number one. So, and then follow your passion. What would you love to do? Are you someone who like painting? Try to go with something on that, you know, artificial intelligence painter, you know, using the algorithm to create and to innovate in there. So first of all, follow your instinct. What do you love to do? I had a discussion with my kids, you know, they are 16 years old, and they were speaking to me, Dad, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I was, as a nanny father, you will not earn money with this. This will not allow you to have a good job. Companies will not hire you. And my daughter looked to me and say, look, Dad, I know everything requires hard work, but hey, Dad, I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy the hard work. So that's my first advice. Choose a field where you're going to enjoy. Secondly, diversify your source of creativity. You have the university or whatever program you enrolled into. Be curious, have some courses on Coursera or whatsoever platform, you know, have some professional certificate, diversify your skill until you find, oh, wow, I love it. Here I can intuitively see what other cannot see. I can create, I can innovate. So innovation does not come without a background. So the more you make your scope large, all right, maybe you choose a major field, but do not close yourself and cluster yourself into there, and usually get fun with it. Enjoy that. You know, life is changing, and I'm sure recruiters are changing. A lot of companies and big companies today, Google for citing just one, they do not care really what degree you have. They care about what capabilities you have. And I was personally part of a disruptive university that starts in Paris and today have, you know, branches everywhere. I will not name it, so I will not, you know, do marketing for anyone, where we accept people to do computer studies without even having the secondary degree. We don't give a damn. You like coding, come, we're gonna let you enjoy it. And the first challenge we faced is that at the beginning, companies said, this is not a recognized degree, there is no stamp of authorities on it. Today, honestly, sorry for the word, who cares? Are you able to do it? Yeah, come and do it. I will enjoy it. And that's what the business angels are looking for. For anecdote, I knew someone who was Mr. Security, you know, he was the security manager of a very big telecom company in one country. This guy never stepped in a computer science school, you know. He loved that. He learned it. He was a hacker. And one day someone said, oh, this guy is smart. Come on. So that's my advice. Get fun with it. Diversify your scope. Be curious. And mainly be a smart learner ready for a smart city. Do not be afraid of the transformation. Opposite. Embrace the transformation. And gradually, you're going to be the actor there.
Would your advice be the same for someone in their 30s or 40s who need to reinvent themselves now? They've realized they're not in the job they want to be. life is changing, the world is changing, I want to change. I'm 40. How do I change?
Yeah, the challenge here is slightly different, or quite different, if I may say. First of all, dress a kind of report review of what are my strong points. Because those 30 years or 40 years, for sure you learn things. For sure you have skills, you have competences. So get them first and know them. When you know what is your strong points and what is your weaknesses, ask yourself, where from those innovative area my strong points or my skills can be useful, even with a tiny way, and get, okay, I'm gonna go to that field. And the second question is, okay, how much my weaknesses will be an obstacle, will not allow me to reach and to persevere there. If they're not an obstacle, forget about them and focus on the positive things and see how you can complete the gap and, reduce the gap, complete what you need to reduce the gap between what you used to do and what you might be requested to do with this change. Some people, they cannot use computers. They don't feel comfortable. So do not oblige them to use that. Maybe they are more in looking to figures and they will tell you, the trend here is this and this. But if you present to them this with a computer, they will feel bad. So find your strongest point first. Find your strongest point and then see where it can fit. There is, unfortunately, a minimal required knowledge and understanding of what is artificial intelligence, how the tool can help you. Do not try to be a user of the tool. Try to be someone who build on the output of those tools, of artificial intelligence or data mining or whatsoever. Those are scary words, for someone like my dad or my grandma. Oh, this is scary words. What I was saying, what's this strange thing, And no, you are telling me that a machine will do my surgery. Oh no, I'm afraid of that. Because they don't understand that behind the machine, there is a man. So if you want to re-engineer yourself, it's not for sure leaving aside all what you have been doing. No, just try to re-engineer it. Try to do it maybe in a different way by focusing on what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and to what extent those weaknesses need to be addressed. If they don't need, focus on your strength, find your place first, and then, see what is available, whether in tools, whether in certification, whether in contacts with people, whether in training, whether in experience, to allow you to be citizens of tomorrow.